your Baltimore Orioles.
That's what I'm talking about, Birdland!
On Massive.
He did it again!
And streaming live on the Masson app.
There you go.
It all starts right now.
A hazy evening from Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Clear skies hopefully will remain overhead as the O's search for a series win on Gunnar Henderson's bobble card night. Gunnar in the lineup and batting second for the O's, who took the opener yesterday with Washington and turned to the surprising standout of their rotation tonight. Undrafted Texan Brandon Young. 12 starts this year. Has allowed 3 runs or less in 11 of 12. And the Orioles a record of 10-2 in Brandon Young's starts, which is a heck of a surprise and a heck of a number. Kevin Brown, Ryan Ripken, great to be with you tonight from Camden Yards. 10-2 probably stirs up memories for those of us who are old enough to drive. When you learn how to get behind the wheel, your hands at 10-2. And if we extend the metaphor, last year in the big leagues, Brandon Young got his permit. This year has been learning how to get his license.
So why don't we take a quick drive with Brandon Young here, because look, when we're looking at the biggest difference in the journey for Brandon Young, really for me it's been confidence. And he's even talked about it. And every time he steps on the mound, not only is he bringing confidence, the team believes that they can go out and win the game. And he's been riding that fastball well all season long. And then on top of it, especially over the last 6 starts, he's been in cruise control, going 6 or more innings in 5 of them. And Brandon Young, what you want from your starter, give yourself a chance to win, and he does that all the time.
So does the guy on the right for Washington, the left-hander Foster Griffin, one of the big surprises of the year. Nats are 12-4 in his starts. Doesn't sound quite as sexy as 10-2. Take a drive with us to downtown Baltimore. First pitch next from the yard. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Bet365, where winning is everything, and by Antwerpen Automotive. Sizzling savings on your favorite brands at Antwerpen Automotive, where Jack says yes to every deal. Save at jacksays.yes.com. Good to be aware of the camera, as our friends on Utah Street are. Well, there are some of the numbers on Brandon Young. Mentioned the Orioles are 10-2 in his 12 starts. The ERA a sparkling 3.07, and coming off of a victory over the defending champion Dodgers in their ballpark.
And Brandon Young has been that stopper so far for the Orioles this year. He's been the guy that everyone depends on. And one thing I love, he pitches off of his fastball. He's not going to be a guy that's high velo, as we can see this StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Look, the fastball is the pitch he's going to go with the most, and the split. And he doesn't have to throw it too hard to have success. You see it right now. He's only around 94, 95 miles an hour, but hitters are having a tough time picking it up. When he's throwing that pitch effectively, splitter, slider, sinker, curveball, all are going to be more effective.
Nats at 41-42. The O's 39-44 into today. Baltimore still just 1.5 back of a wild card spot. Looking to win the series, which they haven't done in their last 5 series against Washington. And the first pitch outside to James Wood. Kick-starting the lineup for Blake Butera. C.J. Abrams playing like an all-star and hitting cleanup. Wood has had a massive year in the top spot. And the Nationals remain the highest scoring team in baseball. Shockingly, 5.3 runs a game. What a great job Blake Butera and the former Oriole hitting coach Matt Borkschulte in his first year with the Nats have done. But the Nats come in having lost 4 in a row. 3 blown late leads against the Phillies at home. And then the Orioles a 3-1 victory yesterday. So Brandon Young hoping to keep Wood and Washington off kilter, as his 2-1 pitch is in the zone. Not called a strike by Corey Blazer, and not challenged by Chadwick Tromp, making his Orioles season debut. Pitch that caught strike zone pretty much the whole baseball. 3-1 to Wood will be wide, and that is a leadoff walk for the Nationals superstar right fielder Wood.
We'll take a look at the Car Shield defense here for a second. Leody Taveras out there in center. with Cowser having the night all so far. And Gunnar Henderson, how about the plays he was making last night to end the game, the bare hand, to put an exclamation point on a great start to the series. And Jeremiah Jackson in the lineup tonight at second.
Jackson Holiday getting the night off to start against another lefty. Well, Woods' walk is the Nats' first of the series. Trevor Rogers 6 1/3 walkless yesterday. And 3 relievers who followed him, Wells, Wolfram, and Helsley, went 8 up and 8 down. Garcia, not a guy who's going to walk much. This is a low fastball, which is a rarity for Brandon Young. And fastball's been incredibly effective this year. He typically throws it at or above the very top of the strike zone. And Garcia, who is in full swing-a-rama mode with 2 strikes, fouls 1 away. Our cold hard facts tonight, as always, presented by Coors Light. Right-handed 4-seamers. Only the Philly Zach Wheeler allows a lower average. That's right, even better than Yoshinobu Yamamoto or the guy who hit 105.5 last night, Jacob Mizorowski. Brandon Young's fastball got to 96 tonight, and that's a lot for him, typically around 94. And Garcia takes a 1-2 splitter out to left. Ward dancing around will make the catch. You've been watching Brandon Young this year. Rip, his 13th start. You've seen plenty of fastballs get uncomfortable swings. What is it that you think makes that pitch so successful?
Well, I think that he understands where it works best. And you mentioned middle to top of the zone is where he's aiming, because how it's coming out of the hand. As a hitter, if you are identifying it there, you got to keep in mind that it has this type of rise feel. And for some reason, hitters just aren't picking that up with the movement that it has, like that.
Perfect illustration. Strike 1 to Jose Tena.
And got to see Brandon Young up there in Toronto. And actually that night, not just the fastball, everything was working. He was around the zone. And I meant with this a confidence. When he has his fastball working, he feels just like Trevor Rogers. Extremely confident.
That zipped right in there to Tena hitting third. The Nats obviously hit fastballs very well. They hit everything well for the most part. 5.3 runs per game. But last year, lefties would tee off against Brandon Young in his rookie season, and this year he has taken charge. Up and away. Good take by Tena there for ball 1. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run against the Dodgers Sunday. Walked 2, struck out 5. It was a grindy start, but still 5 innings, 1 run in LA as the Orioles took that series against the Dodgers. And Tena spoils a 1-2 heater. The big hitters for the Nats, you mentioned Wood and Abrams, but this is an extremely young lineup. Catcher Drew Millis batting 9th is the old man at 28. Everybody else is between 23 and 26. Tena at 25 years old. And he'll take a splitter low for ball 2. Not having a sterling year, only a 641 OPS, but Blake Butera has stuck with James Wood 1 and C.J. Abrams 4. Get a little separation between his big hitters. There's our old friend Matt Borg-Schulte, hitting coach. Tena will be called for a swing by Corey Blazer. And another fastball chase and another fastball strikeout for Brandon Young. Blake Butera can't believe there wasn't an appeal to third there on the swing call, but it is out number 2. Wow.
I was like, when in doubt, you can always ask, but I like that he made the call himself.
Fly ball to left center from C.J. Abrams on the first pitch. Abrams flies out. Young works around the leadoff walk. Ward, Henderson, and Alonso coming up. The Orioles 11th in the majors at 4.6 runs per game. And they've got Taylor Ward coming off a 3-hit night to lead the way. Kobe Mayo, his first career 2-double night. He'll bat 4th against a left-handed starter for the 2nd straight day. And that left-handed starter is Foster Griffin, the surprising ace of this Nationals team.
been one of the best stories in baseball here.
Ward goes after a first pitch cutter. We'll see a lot of those today. Cutters from a 30-year-old who was in Japan the last 3 years, and frankly at this point is pitching like an all-star.
Certainly is, and he reinvented himself going over to pitch in Japan. As we look at StatCast powered by Google Cloud, and we're looking at this arsenal, when he was back pitching here in the U.S., he didn't have all these pitches, but he came back from Japan, added 4 more to the mix. That curveball, changeup, splitter. But make no mistake, the cutter and four seam are the 2 pitches he will go to the most. And then those put away pitches, he wants to go split and curveball to kind of sprinkle it all in.
You may not see him surpass 93 or 94 today, but that 7-pitch mix is lethal as he bounces a curveball to Ward. 2-2. Taylor Ward over his last 5 games, 4 multi-hit games, including the 3-hit game yesterday. 262 now with a 392 on base percentage. He is 3rd in the majors in walks, tied for 3rd in times on base, and 10th in on base percentage. And he shoots his ball foul wide of the camera. Well, you can see there Taylor is swinging a lot more in the month of June. Gone, at least for now, are the days where Ward would walk every game, walk twice as many games in a stretch as he would not walk. But he's getting some more strikes. He's being more aggressive. He's picking up more hits. So getting on base for Dustin Lynn just in a little bit of a different way.
And Ward's even talked about the evolution of the season for him. Seen a lot of pitches. He was trying to work out some things with his swing. And once you're feeling a little bit more comfortable, you're going to be more aggressive.
Takes up high there with the cutter. And from 0-2, Taylor has now on the count full. Gunnar Henderson next, then Pete Alonso. Orioles 15 base runners last night, 8 hits, 7 walks, only scored 3. They were 3 for 12 runners in scoring position. And Ward leads off the game by taking strike 3. That'll quickly become ball 4. ABS powered by T-Mobile, and this pitch did not even look close. Wow. Well, when it's farther than 3 inches out of the zone, the ABS graphic does not populate the distance out of the zone. So, in other words, it's a pretty bad miss by Corey Blazer, and that's why we have ABS.
Yeah, well, and Taylor Ward knew it right immediately. I know we're saying save the challenges. Well, you're that certain. Tap early on and often.
So Ward with his team leading 65th walk now. And he now is tied with Randy Milligan in 1990, the most walks by any Oriole before July in a single season. There's Gunnar, who takes a cutter low, 1-1. It is the bobble card day for Gunnar Henderson. Like a half bobblehead, and then the back of the item is a sort of a baseball card with some numbers from last year. And Gunnar, as part of his bobble card day, caught the first pitch from his wife Catherine Lee. Now, as he told me yesterday, she did not end up going to the mound. He said, I told her she had to throw from the mound. She did not. She threw right from the front of the mound, but a great first pitch. So whether that was Gunnar's choice, her choice, or somebody else's choice, went right at the front of the slope and did not bounce the ball. He said, my hope is she's going to miss high rather than low. And that's exactly what she did. Floated it in there right to his glove.
And I'm not one to speak on first pitches. I might have had one of the worst here.
I was hoping you would.
You wanted me to go there. Well, I thought it was great.
It's open season for you.
Thank you, KB.
I'd like to give you the space to operate. That's all. 1-2 is cut out and miss. There's the sweeper from Griffin, one of his key strikeout pitches, and he gets his first of the game. Time for our Bet365 odds to watch. Bet365, where winning is everything. Orioles minus 115 on the money line. You know you must have a good pitcher going when you're facing a guy who's 8-2 with a 315 and you're the favorite. That's what the Orioles have with Brandon Young. as Griffin may have just nicked the corner there on a backdoor sweeper to Pete Alonso. Pete walked twice yesterday. 42 walks, are second on the team, second in hits, second in walks, first in homers. Rips one foul off a long hold by Griffin. Milestone day for Pete as well. It's his 500th consecutive game played. Every game over the last now 2.5 seasons. He has not missed a game since 2023. And that is the second longest active streak in the majors behind Atlanta's Matt Olson. And he typically loves seeing the Nats in his consecutive game streak. 28 homers in 109 games. But he has not homered against Washington over his last 18. Not changed there as Griffin strikes him out on a backdoor cutter.
So there's a lot we're going to talk about with Foster Griffin tonight, because his cutter and fastball, what you're seeing, he doesn't throw hard, but it comes out very similar by the look of it. And then having the pause as a lefty, definitely throwing off Pete's timing. And in that case right there, you think you see cutter maybe at the end, you think that ball is going to come across the plate, and it just backs up.
There's another cutter to Colby Mayo. You mentioned last night the way that Andrew Alvarez was pitching. Be a good night for guys to sit off speed. What do you do against Foster Griffin?
Well, his two pitches he wants to go is the cutter and the four seam. But the problem here is that I think the reason why he's having so much success is that the four seam and the cutter, when it's coming out of the hand, the hitter's having a tough time, specifically the righties, identifying, well, does it feel like it's cutting into me, or does it feel like it's going to be a little bit straighter?
That's going to be challenged by Colby Mayo.
Challenger to call a strike.
That's two challenges in the first inning by the Orioles. And they're going to be 2 for 2.
Ball's overturned. Baltimore has 2 remaining.
Well, hopefully Corey Blazer can recalibrate this. He was closer this time.
Certainly was, but you know, I like this early. You get confidence with Taylor Ward. Don't be afraid. Challenge early.
3-0 cutter. Gives you an idea of how much Foster Griffin loves that cutter. 31% of the time. He'll throw everything under the sun, as we showed you earlier, but he's going to lean on that cutter to all these righties. Wastes a changeup away to Mayo. So walk, strikeout, strikeout, walk. And the Orioles have 2 on with 2 out for Tyler O'Neill.
The last 2 nights here, you got 2 lefties, and you have guys that are going to be very specific to how they pitch. Last night Alvarez wanted to use his break and stuff a lot. Tonight Foster Griffin, as you can see, he wants to throw that cutter. And he throws the cutter more than any other pitcher in baseball this season. And so you got to keep that in mind. And so far, I mean, I love the at-bats. You know, you're working counts. You're making him work early.
Tyler O'Neill goes fishing for the changeup. It is never a bad idea to get the starting pitcher into a deep count out early, especially not, as we've said, against this Nats team, which has the 3rd worst bullpen ERA in baseball and even 5. 2 strikes here, and O'Neill takes in the dirt, backhanded by Drew Millis. It was a good night for Tyler yesterday. He reached base 3 times to tie a season high. Doubled once and walked twice. Since June 9th, trending very much in the right direction. 5 doubles, 4 walks, and an .839 OPS over the last 18 days. There's Craig Albernaz. Hoping his team can get back to within 4 of 500. And it's 3-2.
Off speed quite a bit in these situations. Tried to run that cutter in. He loves to run the cutter in to righties. up in the count, but let's see if he goes back. He's thrown it the most this year. Looks like it.
He ran the cutter to the back door. Well, maybe the Nationals fielders will have something to do in the second inning. Well, Gunnar Henderson made an error in the third inning. The very next ball was hit to him. He started a double play, and he and Blaze Alexander were superb throughout the rest of the game. Blaze cutting down around the plate. Gunnar's bare hand play ending the night, and the Orioles 3-1 win. Obviously a base running mistake by Blaze and an error by Gunnar. Other than that, very clean game for the Orioles, and those two were a big part of the story. Blaze driving in two, and Gunnar having a nice night at short. They're back on the left side again today as Dylan Cruz slugs a ball to left field. Easy pickings for Taylor Ward, and the first out for Brandon Young in the second. Stream Masson Plus on iOS and Android mobile devices, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Masson Plus monthly subscriptions available for only $19.99 a month. Go to MassonSports.com or scan the QR code to get yours today. Nats go from Dylan to Dalen. The young outfielder Dalen Lyle, 23 years of age. And Lyle swings through the heater away. The 23-year-old was 0 for 3 yesterday. Grounded out, struck out, popped out at the end of a 10-pitch at-bat against Trevor Rogers. And Lyle sprays his splitter well off the plate to deep left. Ward took a circuitous path to the ball, and it ends up into the stands for a double.
I think that surprised almost everyone, even off the bat and where the pitch location was. Pretty good pitch by Brandon Young. But when you're an outfielder in the opposite field like that, this is where it gets tricky because it's hit pretty well, but you don't know how well. It feels like this ball just kept taking off. And if you're wrong on the step, it's hard to make that back up. And unfortunately for Taylor, there's that 1 or 2 steps in, couldn't recover quick enough.
And he just didn't look like he realized it until maybe closer to 10 steps in.
Well, because it was kind of an in-between between a fly ball and a line drive, and when we're trying to get a good look at it, specifically from a lefty bat, the way it comes off is hard to judge.
Jorby Bibas pops one down the left side. Alexander near the stands into the net. I don't think he saw that coming. The 1-1 to Jorby Bibas against Brandon Young, whose fastball has been effective again early. A leadoff walk to James Wood, 4 in a row retired, and then the Lyle double. Bibas a rather paltry 121 this year. Runners in scoring position. Take a strike right around the inside corner. He's not having a bad year overall. He's hitting .253. So with nobody on base, he's an all-star. With runners on base, statistically this year, you'd rather have anybody else up. To the left side, he'll turn those numbers around with a base knock. Lyle waved around third. Ward loads up for the throw. It's going to be late. Bibas will go to second. So Jorby Bibas with a run-scoring hit, and then on the throw home from Ward, advances to second as the Nationals take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the ball wasn't hit hard enough down the line. Good placement on the swing, late on the swing. Right there for Taylor Ward. There didn't look like he was going to have a shot. And the problem here, and again, it's a good pitch by Brandon Young, good execution. But again, just hit it where it ain't. But this ball's not hit hard enough. And I know no one's in a cutoff position right there, but now he gets a free 90 because of it.
And now strike one into Nasim Nunez. Well, a tough couple of batter sequence for Ward, who couldn't read the first fly ball that ends up as a double. And then the throw home costs the Orioles a base, takes away a potential double play. It's the guy who hits a lot of ground balls. 0-2 for Nunez.
Well, that's the emphasis of having a cutoff man there as well. I'm sure Taylor, realizing no one's there, come up firing instead of having a place to cut it off to.
Credit to Washington. Both those hits were on balls well out of the strike zone. The speedy Nunez strikes out on a foul tip. Another good high heater from Young in his second K.
And I love that he's still staying with his game plan. I mean, you can't look at the results. Hey, you made good pitches where they had good swings. Right there, you make another great pitch with 2 strikes. And that's why the four-seamer, let the swings tell you, they're having a tough time catching up to that 94, 95 mile an hour heater. And even though that ball was hit for the single, they're late on it.
Yeah, it was a single, but was it 65.5 miles per hour?
I mean, and that was just, Viva stayed on the ball. It went right down the line, and that's baseball. But it's a good pitch. Stay with it.
Pop up from Drew Millis in the 9 spot. Ward will end the inning with an out. Nats strike first. Red hot Blaze Alexander coming to the dish next. Our Maryland Lottery Fast Play contestant of the game, Helena Schur from Millersville, won $500 being selected, and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run. $5,000. Free Cho's Grand Slam hit tonight. Learn how to be the Fast Play contestant of the game at mdlottery.com/home run. Was that an Oriole and a catbird seat on that hat? Very impressive design. Birdland Members Weekend. We get to catch up with a lot of wonderful Oriole fans yesterday, and look forward to doing so with folks tomorrow. It's the annual selfie day, and hopefully the weather will be good for that, when we get to meet a lot of Birdland members, Hugh Joe's fans who line up on the field before the game. It's gonna be your first selfie day, Ryan Ripken. Are you excited?
It is. I am. I mean, everyone's telling me about how it's one of their favorite days. A lot to smile about.
People are thrilled to meet all the Oriole players and coaches that'll be out there, and then feign excitement very well for the broadcasters. So we love getting to be a small part of it. That'll be tomorrow before the game for some lucky Birdland members. Blaze Alexander. I mean, what else is new? Do we even need to say anything else? He's just going to hit a line drive somewhere. It's going to find green grass, and he's going to keep that batting average north of 300.
And he's just dialed in right now. And talking to Blaze, his approach with 2 strikes, and there's a split finger trying to stay low in the zone, and Blaze stays back, goes down and gets it. And this is the philosophy for him when you talk to him. He goes, I'm just trying to hit the ball and try to hit it where it's pitched. If I do that well enough, I'm going to have a chance to give myself an opportunity to have more hits. And that's just what he's done.
Well, 374 since May 1st, 421 on base, 557 slugging. Remember, in April, he was 7 for 51. He looked lost, hitting a .137. Leody Taveras, who tried to bunt, is now behind 0-2.
And there were some adjustments he was working on. And again, the secret for a lot of hitters is, how can I stay back? And for Blaze, he wants to be able to stay back, and he really likes using the backside part of the field and up the middle.
And the dirt to Taveras. Blaze Alexander is 27 years old. He's playing the most he's ever played in the big leagues. He's under contract for 4 more years after this season. That was something so attractive when the Orioles added him from Arizona. that they would get a player with 5 years of team control. And they never could have imagined how valuable he'd be this year because of the critical injuries to Jordan Westburg and Jackson Holiday, which both happened right after they traded for Blaze.
Sometimes timing's everything. And, you know, I think the other part with Blaze, you know, because everyone wants to look at last year, only highest average he's had in the bigs was 247 when he played 61 games in 2024. But he said last year in 25 he got a little bit more run. And he said, you know, I proved to myself I can do some things, but I know I can do things a lot better with the right group.
Tavares down swinging, so Foster Griffin, 30-year-old coming from the last 3 years in Japan, has 4 outs in the game. They're all strikeouts.
And one thing he wanted to focus on was setting hitters up, and when he sets hitters up, that curveball specifically, he wants to put that thing in the dirt. He doesn't want to leave that up. We're talking about a confidence and a guy. The Orioles worked the count 27 pitches, but the last 3 outings he's gone 6 or more. We talked about all the issues with the bullpen. They need him to go deeper into the game.
He's thrown 7 out of 8 first pitch strikes, which is nothing new. But even more impressive, the Orioles were able to walk twice in the first inning against him, as Jeremiah Jackson chases a very high cutter. One of the notes we just showed you on that Foster Griffin monthly line, he had only walked 2 batters in the month of June coming into tonight, 24 1/3. So already 2 walks for the Orioles. Already they've hoisted the pitch count up to 38. But Griffin has 4 strikeouts as he misses way high to Jackson again. Jeremiah getting the start at second today. JJ 251, 267 on base, only 4 walks, 40 strikeouts, 7 homers in 65 games. And it takes another one very high out of the hand. Just a normal day off for Jackson Holiday. We did go 1 for 3 with a walk yesterday, reached base twice against a left-handed starter. Jeremiah on the ground at shortstop. Perfect double play ball. Or is it? It's a good slide by Blaze to get in the way of Nasim Nunez. And Nunez's throw airmailed out of play, so Jackson will end up at second.
Well, Foster Griffin got the pitch he wanted. Trying to get a double play to end the inning. You can tell Nunez on the exchange tried to move too quickly. And Blaze going in there hard. That's the importance of trying to make a play. Now we know the rules have changed. You know, you can't try to take the runner out per se, but putting pressure on the defense can allow things like that to happen. Now the Orioles have a chance to cash in.
Nunez's 11th error of the year, 9 of them at second. And it's the first Oriole at bat this season for a guy who had 16 of them last year, Chadwick Trump. 5 for 25 with Atlanta this year. No walks, 3 RBIs. Orioles are still carrying 3 catchers. Adley Rutschman continues to feel much better. His return appears imminent from a concussion, but Samuel Basayo is on the bench today. Sam Huff is also available. Trump gets the start, and he swings over the top of a changeup. Chadwick had his contract selected from Norfolk on Monday. He'd signed as a minor league free agent just 17 days ago. The Braves DFA'd him earlier in the month. Last year, 3 for 16 with the Orioles, including a home run. He was part of the catcher roulette as the O's used a franchise record 7 catchers last season. And here he is thrown into a big moment. His 80th big league game over parts of 7 years. Trump to the right side. It's a base hit. And it'll be an RBI base hit as Jackson comes in from third. Chadwick Trump in his first at bat of the season flips a ball to right out of the 9 spot And the Orioles tie the game in the second.
And how about that? And just a great piece of hitting, too. Stay on the ball long, not trying to do too much. Simple swing. He'll hit a little line drive to right. And no doubt about that one. And this is why when we talk about defense, the exchange, and I know that the Nats wanted to turn two, but when you don't have a grip on the ball and you try to do too much, you can give a team a chance. Well, gave the Orioles a chance to get a 2-out RBI.
At the moment, that is an unearned run because of the error by Nunez that put Jeremiah Jackson at second. And the Orioles answer back. Taylor Ward had a rickety top of the second inning defensively, helping lead to the Nats 1 run. Has a chance to help atone for it some at the bottom. A half-hearted swing, though, is strike 2 against Griffin. But look at that pitch count, already 48.
The Orioles are doing their job. Might not see all the results that they want, but you're making him work.
Or gets a piece of a 1-2 changeup. Taylor Ward at first inning walk has now reached base all 17 career games against Washington. Hitting .365, 12 walks in those 17 games. And that's off of the umpire, Corey Blazer, on the foul tip. Jansen Visconti is going to walk down the line from first, and Scott Behringer, the Oriole trainer, will come out to check on Blazer.
Squared him up.
Right off the bat, right to the mask. And now all 4 umpires are down to converse with Blazer, who's rubbing his chin. We saw C.B. Buckner take a foul tip earlier this year. Had to leave the game, miss a ton of time. I don't think CB has come back yet. So it's good to see Corey Blazer able to stay in this game. Hopefully no lingering effects. This is back behind the plate for another 1-2. There goes Trump, and the pitch is fouled away. Well, didn't expect to say there goes Trump today. 0 career stolen base attempts.
I love it. You make a guess, you're going. If he picks you off, he picks you off.
Oh, he got Millis on the backswing there, boys. My gosh. It's a gnarly place to be right now. Hopefully this won't hurt anybody. A 1-2 again. It'll hurt Ward's feelings. 5 strikeouts for Griffin. The Orioles tie it, though, on a Trump hit.
Welcome back to Orioles baseball. Not only was Gunnar Henderson catching his wife Catherine's first pitch today before the game, but he was also giving out gifts to a young baseball player named Declan. Now, Declan had no idea he was getting this gift today from Gunnar. Knew he was coming to the game, but that was it. I'm here right now with Declan and his dad, Jeff. Now, Jeff, how were you able to keep this a surprise from Declan?
Well, it was pretty tough, but we were able to tell him that, hey, we were just coming to the game, and Under Armour was able to help hook us up with some pretty good tickets. Other than that, we just tried really hard, and we're able to keep it a secret.
Now, how do we get here? Tell us more about this shoe.
Yep, absolutely. So Declan was playing in a baseball tournament last summer, when one of the coaches of the other team came up to me, an Under Armour employee, introduced himself and said, hey, I noticed your son's shoes or cleats with the lift. We want to be able to do something to help him out so he can become kind of a more natural athlete. So they brought us to their corporate headquarters, ran us through a bunch of tests, and we're able to come up with prototype cleats for Declan, and then that brought us to these.
I watched this video, and I thought it was real special that the Under Armour employee you're talking about said he felt, and Under Armour felt it was their responsibility to help Declan out.
I'll tell you what, Under Armour has been fantastic during this entire thing. They've been above and beyond. Every time I thought there's no reason for them to do more, they did more. It's just been absolutely fantastic.
And as a father, why is this special to you for your son?
Well, you know, I just know it makes him feel special. And it's something, again, they didn't have to do. So the fact that they were able to do it and make Declan feel special here and do something just absolutely fantastic for him.
Now, Declan, Gunnar Henderson also gave you another cleat that he autographed. How cool is that?
That's really cool. He's my favorite baseball player ever, and it's really special to me that he did this for me.
Absolutely, very special. Orioles taking care of business, Under Armour taking care of business in their community as well. Jeff, congratulations to you. I know how special this is for you as a parent, and I hope this brings you a lot of success. All right, got to steal some bases now, right? Kevin and Ryan, back to you.
Rob, that's awesome. The smile on that kid's face. I mean, the smile, the look of shock, of absolute shock when Gunnar Henderson walked out onto the field was pretty amazing. You heard Rob talking about Declan and his family and a rare leg length discrepancy that requires those modified shoes for daily use and when playing sports. So a very, very special moment before the game for 11-year-old Declan from Elk Ridge, Maryland. While that was happening, by the way, some great pitching. Brandon Young, curveball and 3 splitters to strike out James Wood, now ahead of Luis Garcia, who does not swing at the splitter. 2-2.
He doesn't strike out a lot either, but you're right, the split has definitely been working for him. And the Nats, starting with James Wood. James Wood's now 1 for his last 20. Being out in front, and
Garcia slams that up the middle for a base hit.
just as I was saying, being out in front, Luis Garcia doesn't strike out too much, and even though he might be out in front on a lot of pitches, does a great job of putting the ball in play with 2 strikes. And short, simple. Watch out there, BY.
You played with Luis some in the Nats minor leagues. What stood out first time you saw him?
Great guy to be around, charismatic. His approach at the plate has been the exact same, where he will swing at anything, anywhere before 2 strikes, but when something locks in for him. And that has been his, I guess, power to some extent, that you say it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is you can put the bat on the ball. The curse is you might swing at some pitches you wish you didn't. But he's had a great year so far, just like this whole Nats team. Man, who would have thought right now, this Nationals offense going into this series, they were the top unit in the game.
If they were 10th in runs per game, you would have been impressed as a Nats fan. They're first. Off the end of the bat for Tena. Henderson flips. And Jackson dropped it on the transfer. So James Jean does have the out, the second base umpire. The Nationals are not going to challenge.
Brandon Young gets the pitch that he wants. Let's take a closer look here. Good flip, and it just looks like, as Jeremiah's on the transfer, which it was, picked his head up just a hair too soon as the ball hits the glove. Slips right out of the hand. Can't assume ground balls, KB. Can't assume double plays on ground balls, but felt like a double play the Birds could have had.
Do you like Gunnar with a flip, or is that a play you think he should take himself to the base?
All looked good there. It just seemed like with Jeremiah, in some cases you want to work as quick as you possibly can on turning a double play, but you can't be too quick. And I think it's the same thing with hitting, where you say, well, you got to go back and you got to be slow and controlled. It's the same thing in the field. You want to be under control. But you also want to be quick as well. So we can see right here, I'm going the flip, good flip, but Jeremiah right here picks his head up to throw it, which you want, but you got to make sure on that you got a good grip on that.
It's very wide to Abrams, 3-1.
And just in these situations, you know, again, you can't assume a double play is going to happen. The reason why they're important is, you know, who's on deck here. C.J. Abrams, all-star finalist. More pitches that you're throwing.
Abrams gets jammed, sends it right under our booth for strike 2.
You know, all those things factor in. And for Brandon Young, I mean, can work out of it and all's good, but if you can throw less pitches you want to, if you want to give less opportunity to some really good players, it's also what you want to do. It's not going to go down as any error, and it's going to happen in the game. It's about limiting the opportunities.
See if we can get the outstanding Abrams on a 3-2. He missed outside. C.J. Abrams is the second national today to walk, and that extends the inning. 2 on and 2 out now for Dylan Cruz. So after potential double play, 6 pitches and a walk to Abrams. And now Brandon Young's pitch count about to hit 50. Cruz a fly out to left, chases a high eater. It was a surprise that Dylan Cruz started the season in AAA Rochester. Was the second pick in the draft in 2023, but his first 2 big league years really struggled. OPSs of 641 and 631. And he's had some flashes this year, but at number 654, he's only walked twice to 27 strikeouts. So the Dylan Cruz the Nats thought they were getting, the no doubt surefire star, has not been that so far. He is, of course, only 24. 0-2 pitch. Cruz off the end of his bat.
Well, when you think about sometimes the rise, even though you are a highly touted prospect and player, you know, he's pushed through the system pretty quickly. And, you know, the development process for guys is not all the same. It's not linear. Sometimes you need a little bit to get comfortable. In the Nationals, they've gone through a lot of transition here over the last couple of years, specifically this year. New staff, new philosophies. Be a lot for a young player trying to find their way.
Yeah, it is a completely new front office. Very young Paul Taboni leading the front office. Very young manager in Blake Butera, a new coaching staff. David Martinez fired midseason last year. Cruz couldn't hold it. Strike 3. Bookend K's in the inning for Brandon Young. Had to throw a few more pitches, but got out of a scoreless third. Orioles baseball on Mass brought to you by Bob Bell Automotive. Bob Bell Automotive, your go-to for cars, service, and more. Come see us or visit bobbell.com. And by Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. There was the first pitch from Catherine Lee Henderson on Gunner's Bobble Card Day. Solid first pitch. He did say, by the way, she played softball, so had some athletic experience. Not just coming in here without any knowledge of how to throw one of these things. What a good first pitch. Gunner got to be part of some pregame ceremonies as he misses a Foster Griffin cutter, 1-1. I feel like you're getting a really terrified look every time I say the words first pitch. So
you see that look in my eye.
Yeah,
I'm remembering back.
I promise you, I don't remember your first pitch 21-30 one night, but the more you bring it up, I'm going to have to look it up.
I don't remember it either.
Okay, great.
It's weird. You know? So what are we even talking about? Baseball, Gunner here. Well, the second time through the order. How about that? Because that's this isn't a first pitch or second pitch. Now you've seen pitches. Now, in Gunner's case, Foster's going to pitch him differently than he's going to pitch all the right-handed bats. sinker, four-seam cutter, and sweeper away like that.
That's what he's done both times. Sweeper away to strike him out twice. That's 6 punch-outs for Griffin, and 1 away in the third.
And I mean, Foster has been so dominant against lefties where they're hitting 165 on the year. And right here, there's the sweeper, starting it off at that front hip, and it just keeps going. And you can tell he's got Gunnar out of sorts, but all season long he's done this. I mean, righties hitting 238 on the year against him. When you're looking at this, it's not about, you don't have to throw 95, 98 if you know what you want to do with what you got.
Foster Griffin came up in 2020, made his debut that year, scoreless inning in 2/3 of the game in Kansas City. That was the only game he pitched that year. That was the only game he pitched for the next couple of years. He had Tommy John surgery. 2022, 5 games with the Royals in relief, 4 1/3, 6 earned runs, 1 game with Toronto, goes to Japan. Pitches 3 years for the Yomiuri Giants. ERA of 2.57 over those 3 years, more than a strikeout an inning. Found himself as a pitcher and decided, I'm going to give the big league thing one more shot. So he's technically still a rookie. He debuted in the big league 6 years ago. He's 30, but he's a rookie, and he's absolutely shoving right now with 7 Ks, including 2 of Henderson and 2 of Alonso.
This is what he's done all year. Not saying the strikeout rate, what he's done, but actually this pitch specifically, running cutters into righties. He's done that a lot this year. That's what he wants to do as well. Freezes Pete. And there's something about this pitch, and the only thing I could say as a hitter, if you're wondering, well, it's not coming in that hard. Why aren't you having a better swing off of it? Why aren't you seeing it? Well, when he was over there in Japan, he was figuring out, how does my pitches tunnel off of another? How do they work? How do they complement? I think the answer is he figured out his sequencing. And I do think it goes back to looking at before the game. And I know for those that are looking at this saying, well, Ryan, what are these graphics trying to tell me? Well, when you're looking at the four seam and the cutter, almost how they're coming out of the hand seem so similar. So think about with the four seam with the lefty, it might have a little arm side run, and then the cutter is going to break into the righties. Well, when it's coming out of the hand, this chart is telling me that it is very, very similar to a hitter when it's coming out. So you're just trying to not necessarily guess, but you're hopefully trying to pick up which way is this ball trying to go.
There's the spin-based movement, there's the observed movement. Basically, it's how does the hitter think that ball is going to travel? How does it actually travel? And the way Foster Griffin's cutter moves and the way it spins is unusual for hitters who've seen who knows how many thousands of pitches in their life. And there's another cutter, center cut to Kobe Mayo, but these swings should give you an idea of how hard it is to pick that up.
And when you know how to throw a cutter to your advantage, to make all the difference in the world. And you know, Mariano Rivera, Orioles fans remember him, longtime closer for the Yankees. What was the pitch that he was best known for? It was his cutter. And at one point he said, I'm going to throw a cutter and I'll throw a two-seamer.
That's really weird English off the cutter, still 3-2.
And so what Mariano Rivera would do is, if you felt comfortable with, oh, you know he's throwing the cutter and you know it's coming over and over again, well, you're saying, well, why don't you hit it? Well, he knows where he's locating it. And once you feel like you're going to maybe dive out over the plate if you're a righty, well, he might run that fastball in.
You were saying?
I mean,
perfect pitching and deception by Foster Griffin. Strikes out all 3 in the third. Our Nissan pitchcast tonight, we're only through 3 innings, but Brandon Young is racking up one swing and miss after another.
And you wouldn't believe it, it's the fastball that's setting everything up, and then the off-speed this next time around the order has really been complimenting his game. And Brandon Young, this is what he has done this year. It's a confidence piece for him. There's nothing when you ask people about what was the biggest difference for Brandon Young from this year to last year, of course the results look great. But he's throwing his fastball with conviction. He understands that he believes he can have success at this level. Once you have that belief and then you start locating these pitches in a good spot, then the stuff can take over. Now, I will say he did change his splitter grip, and that dropped the miles per hour back now in May, and he's had a lot of success. So this is when you get to the big leagues and you start to make your adjustments. So you proved you can be here. You know you have the stuff to do it. Well, how can I take my game to the next level? And I think that's been the evolution here for Brandon Young as this season's progressed, and he has been the Orioles' most consistent starter in 26.
1-2 for Dalen Lyle. Jammed him. Jackson retreats into right to make the catch. Young has retired the leadoff man 3 straight innings. Pretty amazing. 15 whips, a career high in just 3 innings. I feel like we were on a similar path with Trevor Rogers yesterday, who had 16 swings and misses in the game yesterday. One of his best performances of the year. Most of those were on the four-seamer. Blake Butera said after the game there was a little more bite on that fastball than we expected, and I wonder if the Nats are feeling similarly about Brandon Young tonight.
Well, and also you factor in that you got Trevor Rogers filling up the zone. You're coming off a series where you played your rival, where in some cases a little demoralizing.
There's a hanging splitter, pounded in the right. Jorbeat Bibas is 2 for 2.
And so as an offense for them, and I mentioned earlier, James Wood, 1 for his last 20. That's a huge piece of their offense. You know, they're struggling to kind of find it. They felt they could have had better results in the past series. I know Orioles fans and the Orioles will say that's how they felt coming back from the West Coast to the East Coast. You know, some of those things could linger into the next series.
1 out for Nasim Nunez. Another zippy heater for a strike from Young. First pitch strikes in abundance for Young tonight. 11 for 17. Nunez, that's a literal mirror image of last month's average. 371 here in June as Nasim Nunez fouls this one to the screen. His goal is really to be a pest. He's got no homers on the year. He hardly hits the ball in the air. He's slugging .281, and yet nobody's got more steals in the majors than Nasim Nunez is 31. Gets on base at a .322 clip, and that slugging percentage a lot less relevant when you're always turning a walk or a single into a double. And this is up the middle sharply for a hit. Bibas will hit for third, and that means you have Nasim Nunez, a major league leader, at first. Bibas at third, and only 1 out, so a chance for the Nats to really rustle up this game.
A simple approach right back up the middle. And you're talking about he's not worried about hitting for power. Well, he wasn't. And Brandon Young wanted to elevate that heater a little bit more. That's what he's had success on tonight. But leaves it right over the heart of the plate. Nunez doesn't try to do too much, and the Nats are now in business.
His first hit of the year against the O's, 1 for 11. We'll see how long he stays at first. As Drew Millis stands in, I believe Trump is going to be called there for a Brandon Young disengagement, which would be the first of 2 allowable disengagements. Corey Blazer held up 1 finger. Nunez fakes a steal. Millis lays down a bunt foul. That's trying to squeeze with speed out of the 9 spot. Well, Bibas is actually a below average runner at third, so that's not the speed. Oh, 1 from Young. Let's see the number here that the umpire is going to hold up. Make sure that was, yes, that is the second disengagement. So whatever Trump did before that first pitch counted as the first disengagement. That means if Young throws over again and he doesn't get Nunez, it would be a balk, and that would score the runner Bibas from third. So Nunez has a pretty sizable lead now. He's still not going on ball 1.
be curious. They definitely, even though James Wood has been struggling, that's still a guy the Nats want to have up here. And that's trying to make something happen at the bottom of the order.
So we're going to miss on a splitter. It's 1-2. Millis just 177, 262 on base. A strikeout here would be monumental. A delayed steal by Nunez, and he'll just walk into second. His major league leading 32nd. He's 32 for 35. And the Nats now have 2 in scoring position with 1 out.
A simple delayed steal. And it felt like 2 strikes. They wanted to stay out of a double play. And you've mentioned how he wants to move.
Millis down swinging for a huge second out. 1 pitch later, Young gets his man and his 5th K.
And a big strikeout here for Brandon Young. And going with that split, and you can see, I mean, since he's taken that grip and the miles per hour has come off of it, the deception has really worked in his favor. But we're going to have a little bit of a chat here before facing James Wood.
French out to talk over the situation with a base open. Wood batting and Luis Garcia Jr. on deck. Tomorrow, Family Sunday, as the Orioles host the Nationals. 15,000 fans take home an Orioles beach towel presented by Ocean City, Maryland. Bring the kids to the park. Enjoy player autographs, mascot meet and greets. Kids run the bases postgame and more. Go to Orioles.com/tickets. Like normally in this spot, base open James Wood put him up.
Yep.
An automatic. But as you mentioned, he's now 1 for his last 20. How much do you think that changes the calculus here?
Well, I think you want to still go after him, but the same part here, the whole series so far here, he's been out in front a lot, even on the double that he hit down the line, body out in front. And
first pitch, he misses a splitter.
And so when you're thinking he's out in front, you're going to go a little bit more off speed. And for James Wood, he's at his best. We talk about Sam Basayo having the power the other way. James Wood might have the most power the opposite field. So he's at his best when he stays back. And the home runs to right are more accidents for him. He'll pull the ball when he has to. But so for Brandon Young, you're thinking, all right, I want to give him a good pitch to hit. I know he's struggling, but he's 1 swing away if I leave a mistake from opening it up.
1-1. Splitters outside. Young threw him a curveball to begin his strikeout in the 3rd. He's thrown him 6 consecutive splitters since. Wood ground ball foul. He got his 7th straight splitter over 2 at-bats.
Well, the way that the swings are showing us that James is still out in front. So I know Brandon Young, that heater's been great. If you feel comfortable that you can raise that heater up, by all means, but I think off speed is going to be the way to go.
2-2. 8 consecutive splitters over 2 at-bats, and it's 3-2.
And if you're willing to throw it this many times, you might be willing to throw it 1 more.
Garcia's on deck. Bibas and Nunez aboard. And the 3-2 is another splitter. Sometimes stubbornness can be a valuable trait. Fourth inning of Orioles baseball is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Shop Toyota for legendary style and reliability, and check out the all-new RAV4 at Toyota.com. There he is, the bobble boy, Gunnar Henderson. His Orioles tied with the Nationals 1-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. As Tyler O'Neill takes off the corner, we showed you the big number going to break. 19 swings and misses against Brandon Young tonight. His previous career high was 12. What is getting into these Orioles? Kyle Bradish had 18 in Seattle a couple of series ago. That was an Orioles season high. Trevor Rogers induced 16 whiffs yesterday. The Nats, by the way, are 11th in strikeout rate. They're not a bad strikeout team. They're better than average. As O'Neill pops a 2-0 out of play.
Well, and I think that was the potential when the season was starting. Maybe people weren't counting on Brandon Young to be the front runner of this rotation, but he is, and he looks every bit of it right now. But this is what they were capable of. If you're able to throw a lot of strikes as well, then it can allow you to do what you want.
You go to the last 10 starts, Rip, and the Oriole rotation coming into tonight at 2.80 ERA. That's the third best rotation ERA in baseball in that span, behind Milwaukee and Boston. So the slow start looks like it was just that, a slow start, and not necessarily indicative of what this team could be. It's a fair ball, but Vivas was hugging the line and bounced it in time to get Tyler O'Neill. Only the second out in play out of the 10 outs recorded by Foster Griffin.
Vivas takes his time and gives a little long hop there to Luis Garcia at first base. You either want it right there for an easy pick on a short hop, or you want to play the grass and play the long hop for an easy pick.
Now Blaze Alexander. Foster Griffin has struck out 8, walked 2, allowed a couple of hits and 1 unearned run through 3 1/3. Blaze had the hit to start run scoring second, and he leads us to our Xfinity Power Connections. Blaze got his first RBI of the season on opening day. It took a heck of a long time for his second RBI, and in fact he only had 2 multi-RBI games in his first 64. He's got 3 in the last 5. All from a guy who didn't drive in a run between March 26th and May 3rd. Alexander up the middle, this time backhanded by Nunez, who throws him out. 8 pitches, 2 outs for Griffin here in the 4th as he looks to get his pitch count into a more manageable shape. One to Leody Taveras. Griffin's last start, 7 1/3 against the Phillies. 4 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts. It was the Nationals' last win. 4 straight games where he's allowed only 1 earned run. He hasn't allowed any today. You can see him signal. He calls his own game. The pitch comm device on his belt. Taveras slices one the other way, and it'll be an 11-pitch inning for Foster Griffin. What a pitcher's duel. 1-1 between Griffin and Young. Orioles baseball on MASN, brought to you by Johns Hopkins Orthopedics. Johns Hopkins Orthopedics, getting you back to the life you love. And by Papa John's, helping you save big with their Papa Pairings menu. Order 2 or more items for only $6.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Happy Fleet Week and Sale 250, by the way. Good to see all the midshipmen in town. And between the hours about 1 and 4, hear as many fighter jets as possible sailing over our heads, shaking buildings, and enjoying the air show this weekend here in Baltimore. It is a packed house all week. Sail 250 Maryland celebrating the United States 250th birthday, part of a 5-city national event, which includes the ports of New Orleans, Norfolk, New York, and Boston. Have you caught any of the Blue Angels, the fighter jets, anything above?
Absolutely.
3-0 swing. Wow. Speaking of things from above, Luis Garcia Jr. makes it 2-1, and that was as loud as anything in the skies this weekend. Nats are back on top. A $114 off the bat of Garcia.
And he loves the free swing. The question would be just 3-0, would you get the green light? Leading off the inning, and you know that he's probably going to try to groove one, and we got the answer. And Brandon Young grooved one right down the middle, and zero doubt that Luis Garcia got every bit of that one.
A baseball that will lead to a plaque. Utah Street mound from Garcia as the Nationals are back on top. That was over that soon-to-be Utah Street Corona Bar, which should open sometime after the All-Star game. And that'll leave a dent in the floor. Garcia's now homered in 4 consecutive starts. Jose Tena will take up high. And look, a lot of swings and misses, but credit to the Nats. They have elevated Young's pitch count. So both pitchers are now in a similar spot. Tena pulls it fair, pass to diving Alonso. Back-to-back extra base hits to right, and this will be a Jose Tena double.
Back-to-back extra base hits, but also back-to-back at bats for Brandon Young falling behind. And when you're falling behind, hitters can take a little bit more of a risk, so fastball in, and even though earlier in the count, late on the fastball, when you're up in the count, you want to be a little bit more aggressive because you got one more strike to play with. That's what's happened here. I mean, I know that Brandon Young has got a really good feel for the split right now and his off speed, but still getting ahead. The fastball's been a big reason why he's been working ahead. But one thing Brandon Young's done really well this year is he's been able to quiet the struggles.
Rico Garcia is starting to warm up here in the 5th. Young snaps in a curveball strike after the mound visit from Chadwick Tromp. So the Nationals now with 7 hits tonight, 2 hits in the 2nd, 4th, and 5th innings each. And a swing and a miss by Abrams at the splitter, 0-2. 20 swings and misses against Young, but 7 hits and some hard hits at that. Abrams is flied out and walked. And take in the dirt. By the way, Brandon Young, 19 swings and misses through 4 innings. The last Oriole to do that, 19 whips through 4 innings, was Kevin Gausman 11 years ago, August 12, 2015 at Seattle. However, he was not the pitcher of note that day because August 12, 2015 at Seattle was the same day the Orioles were no hit by Hisashi Iwakuma. So as great as Gausman was, and he was very good in that game, he was far from the story. And hopefully Brandon Young will not suffer a similar fate. Obviously not a no-hitter, but Foster Griffin's been great against him. That's a nice bounce back though, striking out Abrams on a right to left slider for K number 7.
Almost felt like a back-up slider where Abrams out in front, maybe it's going to break a little bit more in, but instead of breaking in, just breaks more down.
And lucky number 7 ties a career high 7 strikeouts for Brandon Young. First pitch swinging, Dylan Cruz grounds it foul. Struck out 7 here in the game against the Jays May 30th. 6 2/3, 2 runs in that game. But right now this is looking like a similar start to Sunday at LA, where some long innings knocked him out after 5 innings and 95 pitches. Cruz off the end of the bat to right, O'Neill racing into foul ground, makes a catch in foul territory. And Tana will tag and take third, but it's the second out.
It's always tough going down the line there. But Tyler O'Neill under control. And I love the wits about it. You know the guy's going to tag up, but the wits to get the ball in quickly. Let's see if Brandon Young can leave that runner stranded at third.
Hey, you think T.O.'s going to miss an opportunity to show off his arm? Nobody likes to display it quite like Tyler. He's got a couple of outfield assists this year. Dalen Lyle, 90 pitches deep for Young. Lyle has doubled and lined out softly. And a swing and a miss on a splitter. Could be the last batter for Young. Garcia ready. Pitch count at 91 here in the fifth. Here's his 1-1. Jammed him. Foul ground, that'll get into the seats. High fastball, splitter, something else. What do you think's the put away pitch?
Well, that's exactly. So the double was that splitter way off the plate, drove to left. The ball that Ward had a hard time tracking. But he's gone fastball in twice. And it's been tough for him to catch up to it. But do you want to leave one in the zone? Do you want to have him go chase?
Got him to chase. He could not hold. And it's strike three. A home run gives the Nats the lead, but Young strands another runner at second. Most fans join us at the Yard Friday, July 10th, as the Orioles host the Kansas City Royals. 20,000 fans, 21 and up, get a reversible floppy head. Presented by Coors Light. Plus, it's a party at the Yard Friday, which means $5 Coors Light. Pre-game activities in Legends Park until an hour after gates open. Get tickets now at Orioles.com/tickets. Brandon Young's night appears to be complete after 5 innings and 93 pitches. Career high 8 strikeouts, but Nats a 2-1 lead. He is the pitcher of record on the losing side. We'll see if the Orioles can change that with a runner more in the fifth. Jeremiah Jackson, Chadwick Tromp, and Taylor Ward against Foster Griffin. And Griffin gets another swing and a miss. We're up on that cutter, which has been the story of the night.
You know, and the location of it. We mentioned with the cutter, it's that deception of he can throw it outside to righties. He wants to bring it in.
Jackson lofts this one into left field. Drops in a changeup for a leadoff knock.
That's just a good piece of hitting as well there. Right towards the end of the bat, but Jeremiah stays on it. Now the Orioles got something going here, but for Foster Griffin, this is what he's done extremely well this year, and this is going to be the challenge. Is he likes to mix and match with the guy on first base, change up his delivery to keep Jeremiah close. And one of the things he picked up over in Japan was even the pace of how he sidesteps, how he holds.
Brandon Young gets a nice hug from Craig Albertaz. Chadwick Tromp, not bunting in the 9th spot, will pop out to first. Griffin, a $5.5 million one-year deal coming over from Japan. And look, at this point, the Nats are 41 and 42. They're 3.5 out of the wild card. They're sort of in the mix, but they were never expected to contend this year. It wouldn't be a surprise at all if the Nats fall a little further out. They trade Griffin at the deadline. And who wouldn't want this guy in the rotation? Left-handed starter with 7 pitches. Great piece in the Athletic by Spencer Nussbaum. Talked about Griffin's journey and how he added the sinker in Japan, and then lefty started spoiling pitches at the top and bottom of the zone, so he added a sweeper, so they got better with 2 strikes, so he added a splitter, and Griffin said, I just kept getting frustrated. So he kept finding answers. And he's also been a great fit culturally and a great voice for Jake Irvin, Cade Cavalli, some of these young pitchers. Got a binder of information and has helped some of the Nats pitchers work on their arsenals, talk about going through hitters. And he gets another pop-up here from Ward for out number 2.
And that's what I was talking about with him changing up his holds. And as a hitter, you hate that change of tempo, and sometimes it can mess with the pitchers, but that's something when you look at, when you go over and you watch Japanese pitchers, what is something that they like to do? Some of them really like to change their delivery. And for Foster, that's something he clearly is comfortable with, and then he locates another cutter in.
Barry's gunner with a 2-seamer, which we haven't seen much tonight.
When he wants to really throw that sinker to lefties, and Gunner the only lefty in the lineup at the moment for the Orioles.
That ball snuck away from Millis. Not sure Jeremiah Jackson realized it snuck away. It also didn't sneak away far. Now 31% cutter on the year. That's up to 41 with all the righties in the lineup. Unsurprisingly, that number's gone way up. More changeups tonight. Off another long hold. Dots the corner with the cutter.
And still with 2 strikes. The cutter is where he wants to go. It sets it up now. He's had a lot of success going a sweeper to Gunner with 2 strikes so far tonight.
Up the middle, and Abrams is right there. So Griffin has absolutely shut down the Orioles. 5 innings, 1 unearned run. He leaves them out with the lead. We showed you off the open. The Orioles 10-2 with Brandon Young starting this year, and his hands for most of this outing grip are pretty firmly on the steering wheel with a career-high 8 strikeouts.
I mean, a ton of swing and miss. Good feel of all of his pitches overall. You know, sometimes they worked some counts and the pitch count got a little bit higher, but Brandon Young, once again, the reason why he is 10-2 in his starts over the Orioles, or 10-2, is it gives you a chance, and you go 5 innings, allow 2 runs. You know, only one time this year he's allowed 4 runs or more. So you give yourself a chance. Now you got to turn it over to the bullpen here. Enrico Garcia, who I know the last couple outings, he's been trying to find himself, but tremendous year so far out of the pen.
That's a good start to Jorby Bibas. That drop line on the Brandon Young note, by the way, was amazing. The most swings and misses or whips through 5 innings for any Oriole in the pitch tracking era back to 2008. Now again, high pitch count because of that. So it's not necessarily a guaranteer of an elite start. But 23 whiffs in 5 innings for Brandon Young is just a stunning number. His previous career high for swings and misses in a game was 12. This one's cued down to third, bobbled by Blaze, and then he throws it away. This could be 2 errors. Alonso will stick it in his pocket. That should be a 2-error play on Alexander. 1 fielding and 1 throwing. And a routine out turns into essentially a double.
Yeah, I think not that it was a little bit more nonchalant with it, but with the spin on this ball, you got to be a little bit more careful. And you can see Blaze gets it, but because of that spin, it doesn't stay in the glove, and then you try to hurry it up. But once you bobble it, you got no shot. And unfortunately, you know, the urge is to let this thing go. But as soon as this happens, you got no play. And so 1 mistake turns into 2.
And now a bunt popped up by Nunez. It is, in fact, an E5-E5. So Blaze goes from 2 to 4 errors on the year on one play.
And this goes back earlier when Jeremiah Jackson had his, he tried to turn too quick. And again, the goal is as an infielder, you want to try to get rid of the ball as quick as you can, but you can't go too fast. Catch the ball first.
And now it's a bunt situation for Nunez, although he'd be bunting to get to Millis, who is about a 170 hitter. But Nunez just likes bunting whenever he can. 1-1, he'll square again, take a strike right down the middle. James Wood looming in the hole. Nunez a strikeout and a base hit. 2 strikes, bunt likely off. A good take of that Garcia changeup. Last outing for Rico, he ended up allowing all 3 runs in the 8th inning Wednesday in Anaheim, although he was off the mound for 2 of those inherited runs scored against Andrew Kittredge. And Chadwick Trump thought better of a challenge there, and it's a good non-challenge on a high curveball. Rico is season high 3 runs in that 8th inning. 9 outings in June, 8 innings, 8 earned runs. Trying to turn it around here as time is called. I think it was Nunez yesterday who got a very late.
That seems a little too late. I think you're right, a little too late. There's a certain grace you want to give a hitter, but there is such thing as that time expiring.
Try it again, 3-2. Popped it up. I believe it was Nunez against Trevor Rogers yesterday, and then Rogers struck him out. So let's hope that the baseball gods have some good post-timeout karma again. Again, the umpire didn't have it granted. Corey Blazer could have just ignored it. Another 3-2. And he strikes out again. Better stop messing around with that, Nassim.
I'm having deja vu all over again, KB. That's exactly what happened. And Rico just bearing down right here. And that fastball, that is what he wants to go to. When in doubt, throw that. And when you paint that right on the corner, that is what we call a pitcher's pitch.
Keeps trying to get timeout, Nunez, and he keeps getting it. Change-up strike to Drew Millis. Only the 9th strikeout on a fastball for Rico this year. Change-up has been the primary strikeout pitch, then the curveball, but they've all been great weapons. And there is a beautiful hammer hook to get ahead 0-2. A curveball that Rico Garcia added 3 years ago when he was pitching in AAA with the A's in Las Vegas, and he was having trouble with his normal curveball grip in the altitude, so went to more of the spike knuckle curve grip. In the dirt, 1-2.
Talk about reinventing yourself. Foster Griffin's done that. Rico Garcia has done that. And so we know coming out of the pen, you want to have 2 really solid pitches, but if you can develop a 3rd, have the hitter think, what's another option you have up your sleeve?
1-2. Ground ball left side that gets past Alexander. Bibas will be waved in from 3rd. Throw from Ward up the line. Drew Millis, who had been hitting well under 100 against breaking balls, has a 2-strike RBI single off a curve, and it's 3-1 Washington.
And unfortunately, that's what happens when give teams a chance. It's a backup curveball here. And with the shift and gunner over, no one there. And the other part of guys coming up throwing, runner didn't advance, but got to get into the cutoff position.
It's twice you mentioned that now on throws from left.
Well, so for the outfielders in general here, the cutoff is not just for the fact of, you know, it gives you a chance if the runner's trying to advance. It also gives your outfielder guidance.
Millis on the run. Wood slugs this to left. And Ward will catch this in fair territory as the catcher retreats on out number 2. So James Wood 0 for 3.
Yeah, going back to it, I mean, again, it's little things here. But outfielders are looking for a spot to fire through. And if you've grown up and playing to talk about throwing through the cutoff, man, it gives the opportunity to make a play, but also it gives the outfielder where he needs to throw the ball.
Here's Garcia, who takes one for strike 1, a changeup down the middle. We haven't received word that Garcia's home run hit Utah Street. I mean, that looked like as Utah Streety as you could get. Maybe it hit the back of that new bar. Line to right field, he's got another hit. Millis to third base. It took a low bounce off the wall. Millis is coming home. Jackson's throw skips to the plate in time. Millis trying to score from first is cut down at the plate. O'Neill, Jackson, and Trump on the 9-4-2 out at home. The Oriole defense does show up. There's your cutoff man to keep it a 2-run game. You can stream Masson Plus today on iOS and Android mobile devices, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Don't miss a pitch with a Masson Plus monthly subscription. Available for only $19.99 a month. Go to MassonSports.com or scan the QR code to get yours today. The tarps are once again off here at Camden Yards. It's a rather youthful section. I love the little kids on the bottom left who have kept their shirts on but are waving something anyway. Look at that group. Pete Alonso batting. Let's hope that the Orioles can draw a little life from the fans gathering in the upper deck and left. They've been stymied by Foster Griffin since an unearned run in the second. And Alonso takes, what else? A cutter for a strike. Kevin Brown, Ryan Ripken up here in the booth at Oriole Park. Rob Long down below. Wonderful massive crew as Pete flips the ball to left, and it is caught by a diving Dalen Lyle.
Floated up there just a hair too long. I think we're all watching. It felt like it was in slow motion. The Lyle full extension. Nice play there. Robin, the polar bear of a leadoff knock.
Lyles had a very nice defensive year. 3 outs above average in the outfield. Regular left fielder. And when we went to D.C., that pitch was low, called a strike. In May, the Nats were off to a horrendous start defensively. They've been one of the better teams in the National League over the last month and a half, 2 months. Their defensive numbers have gone way up. Did that ball sting Kobe? It looks like it did. And that'll be a 1-out hit batsman. Corey Blazer is saying to the Nats dugout he got hit. The Nats are looking to see if they might want to challenge. Did that hit the bat or did that hit the hand?
Washington is challenging the call of hit by pitch.
And there you have it. The Nats have challenged. This is our Hyundai Manager's Challenge.
if that gives us the best angle. Just because when it's so close there, it's just the question.
Oh, I think that's a good one. I think that's the knob. By the way, the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event feels so right, it almost feels wrong, only at your local Hyundai dealer. So not only would that not be a hit by pitch, it'll be an 0-2 count. Knob, foul ball. And you can see on the left side of the screen, you can see the folks in the replay review center winding that back and forth. So you can see pretty clearly what the folks in the New York office are looking at. I think Kobe realizes what's going to happen as he's lingering near the batter's box. Mayo has walked and struck out tonight.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The ball hit the knob of the bat. It is a foul ball. Washington retains their challenge.
So 0-2 on Colby. And here's Foster Griffin, who threw 52 pitches in the first 3 innings. Who is not all that far from getting through 6, run 100 pitches in each of his last 3 starts coming in. Oh, 2 on Mayo. And down he goes. Thought he had first on a hit by pitch. Instead, he strikes out, and that's 9 Ks for Griffin. In partnership with Tower Federal Credit Union, this season all veterans and active military members can receive a complimentary Orioles cap. Veterans and service members can present a valid military ID at the guest experience kiosk behind home plate. Get tickets at Orioles.com/tickets. Back-to-back 9 strikeout starts for Foster Griffin, his 3rd 9K game of the year as he matches a career high. There's Tyler O'Neill, who fouls away a cutter. It's 1-1. And the Nats have their first reliever of the night up, right-hander Clayton Beater. And O'Neill with a pop up into right center. Cruz makes the call. And if that's the end of the line for Foster Griffin, the O's would be happy. He was utterly dominant in 6 innings. Tonight's Birdland Pride is brought to you by Chesapeake Employers Insurance. Chesapeake Employers Insurance. We see what's important to you. Shirts on or off. These kids are having a great time at a family Sunday tomorrow, so I hope a lot of them will be back in the house for the series finale tomorrow afternoon, 1:35. 3-1 Washington lead as the Orioles turn to Keegan Aiken in the 7th.
Pitching change brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Want a fast, easy oil change plus free top-offs and vacuuming? Jiffy does it, and Keegan Aiken, last time we saw him, unfortunately, not the result that the team wanted out there to end the road trip in LA, but Keegan's been throwing the ball very well over his last 5 outings. No earned runs over that stretch.
And Keegan came on to try to earn the save Wednesday in the game you mentioned against the Angels. He was great. Pitched great. He was great. He threw 12 pitches, 11 strikes. Comes in with the runner at second, nobody out as he do an extra. Strikes out Zach Neto. Gets Vaughn Grissom to fly out. And then gets Nolan Chunwell to hit a rolled over ground ball to second. And then all hell broke loose. But that was the play that tied the game. And maybe Keegan was a little late covering. Pete Alonso, who catches this pop-up, took a jab step toward first. He couldn't get back to the bag. Jeremiah Jackson's throw wasn't great. And then Logan O'Hoppe then check swings on a 1-2 pitch, hits it maybe 15 feet to win the game. Keegan threw 12 pitches, 11 strikes. It was honestly as good as he's looked all year, which is the cruel irony of the loss.
He filled it up, soft contact. You're right. You couldn't have scripted saying a 15-foot base hit was going to be the winner in that game. And you know, and for Keegan, just like a lot of pitchers, when you're banged up to start the year and to start off at the end of spring training, battling some injuries, and you're trying to find your rhythm. And I'm with you, KB. I thought it was his, you could argue that was his best stuff that he had.
1 earned run last 13 innings now as he buries a slider to Abrams, 1-2. The Orioles a few weeks back DFA Dietrich Enns, who'd been pretty good for this team the last couple of years, kept Keegan Aiken despite a high ERA, and Keegan's been very good since, and he continues to be. That's the 10th strikeout for an Oriole pitcher as he gets Abrams on a slider.
And that's what Keegan can do right here. And when you get into rhythm, throw that slider low and away to Abrams there. Keegan being a little bit closed off. Fastball, again, like some of these other pitchers we talked about for the Orioles, it's sneaky. And when you don't feel right early in the year and you're trying to find that, you know, it makes it a little bit harder when your body doesn't feel in sync and you feel out of sorts.
Low to Cruz. It's 2-0. Rico Garcia, an inning, 2 hits, an unearned run, and a strikeout in the 6th. So Aiken on 2 days rest replaces him. And Cruz takes a strike. We'll see if Foster Griffin has any more left in his tank. Clayton Beeter has stopped throwing. So as you look at the Orioles starters on one side, and Shane Baz clearly bored, it may well be 98 pitches. Foster Griffin is not done. He sure doesn't look done. In fact, he's got his glove on already.
The Orioles lineup wouldn't mind if he's calling it a night.
Up high to Cruz. There's a 2-out walk. Cruz 0 for 3 has the Nats' 3rd walk, and that'll bring up a lefty-lefty matchup with Dalen Lyle. Tuesday night, lace up for Run Club night when the Orioles host the White Sox. Buy a special ticket package to receive an exclusive Orioles Run Club cap and a ticket to the game. Go to Orioles.com/ticket packages. Interesting 2 days for the White Sox. You see what they did yesterday against Kansas City? Won 22-1, and today they won 2-1.
That doesn't describe baseball for you right there.
They are now 24-5 in their last 29 home games. That's just preposterous. The White Sox 24-5. Now they're not great on the road, and thankfully for the Orioles, that's where they will see them. Jacob Gonzalez had the walk-off for Chicago today. A walk-off hit. The 7th White Sox walk-off win of the year by 7 different players. And to make it more cinematic, of course, Gonzalez wearing number 7. Into center field. A 3-1 game at the stretch. Foster Griffin not done after 6 sparkling innings. He's only allowed 2 hard hit balls tonight. They've come from Blaze Alexander and Blaze Alexander. And Blaze is the batter. And he grounds the ball foul. Griffin's 99th pitch. Nationals had Clayton Beeter up in the bullpen. He's now back standing on the mound. He's probably warm at this point. 3-1 game. By the way, neglected to say it was Curtis Mead Batting for Jose Tena to lead off the 7th for the Nats in the DH spot. So obviously he remains in as the DH. A little dribbler from Blaze. That's not a hard hit. Griffin fires a strike from the base of the mound. His 4th consecutive start of 100 pitches or more.
And the thing with Foster Griffin tonight, he's only had first pitch strikes 13 times going into this inning. So 14 of the 24 batters he's faced. It's just that cutter and fastball. Orioles hitters, just like most of the league so far this year, they haven't been able to get a good read on it. When he gets ahead with that cutter and four seam, it's even more successful for Foster. On balls in play for that four seamer, when he has 2 strikes, they're hitting 108, and with the cutter, they're hitting 167.
We saw Dylan Beavers on the bench, who was with the team today, going through a work day after 3 straight days with Norfolk. Should be back soon from an oblique injury. I'm sure Dylan doesn't mind that he's not in there tonight, though. The Orioles have been carved up. Leody Taveras takes a cutter inside for ball 1. Second inning, unearned run. Alexander singled. A couple of batters later, a fielder's choice from Jackson. He went to second on a throwing error. Chadwick Tromp singled him in. So the bottom of the lineup brought in the run for the O's. Their only hit since the second inning was a Jeremiah Jackson single in the 5th. Here's a 1-2. 2-2 for Leody. He was struck out swinging and flied out to right. Ties a career high for Griffin. And again, this Nats bullpen, a house of horrors over the week. Blake Butera squeezing every last drop out of his 30-year-old major league rookie. We just saw his pitching coach Simon Matthews, who is also 30 years old. Not much he's needed to say tonight. It was recounted in the piece by Spencer Nussbaum of The Athletic that there was a start in Miami where Griffin gave up 3 straight base runners to begin the game. Simon Matthews came out and said it's okay for you to throw a cutter. Remember what that best pitch of yours is. And Taveras will challenge a cutter strike 3 here. The Orioles won a couple of first inning challenges at the plate. And they win one in the 7th. Taveras flips strike 3 into ball 3. Pitch number 108 coming up from Griffin. And it's fouled off. Great battle here by Leody.
This is the thing as a hitter, when you look, we saw in the Orioles dugout, and even for tonight, when you look at a guy, he's not going to overpower you. But when he knows exactly what he wants to do, it takes the life out of you little by little. Because you have a pretty good idea what he's going to throw here.
It was a cutter. It's popped up. It will be caught. Garcia. Right by our crack crew of photographers and videographers, Todd and Madison. They are okay, although it would be fine if the baseball came down by them because it's in Luis's glove for out number 2.
And Luis finds the wall. He's hoping he's got a play on it, which he does, and ends the at-bat, keeps Foster Griffin in the game.
About to throw his 110th pitch. It's a strike to Jeremiah. He's got the Orioles' only run of the game. Most pitches in the majors this season. Taj Bradley of the Twins 114 against the Mariners April 29th. Shot to right by Jackson. Wood retreating, makes the catch. 112, and they were brilliant. A dirty 100 and a dozen for Foster Griffin. Orioles baseball on Mass is brought to you by Bet365, where winning is everything. Kevin Brown, Ryan Ripken with Rob Long and our Massive crew back here from Oriole Park. And we'll see Rob Long tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. O's Extra pregame presented by Bet365. Kyle Bradish for the O's, pitching like an ace of late. 21 strikeouts in the last 2 games, goes up against Zach Littell. As it stands, it will be a rubber game unless the O's can come back. They're only down 2 as Pete Shot puts one to Keegan Aiken, and we go down to the aforementioned Rob Long.
You mentioned Kyle Bradish has been pitching well. Brandon Young has been pitching well. Trevor Rogers seems to have turned it around. And today we heard some good news about Dean Kramer. Actually, last night in a rehab start in Norfolk, he goes 6 2/3 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. So the Orioles may have some decisions to make. But with so many guys, so many good arms in the rotation, maybe that decision is for a bullpen. But Dean Kramer looked really good last night in his rehab start.
Yeah, you don't typically see, Rob, a 6 2/3 inning rehab start.
Yeah.
And you don't see that and then have the pitcher not be in the big leagues next turn. So Mike Elias spoke with the media today, said Dean is really close. I think we can read between the lines, Rip, when you pitch that long and that well on rehab, it feels like Dean's going to be up here soon.
Yeah, how many up downs can you have, and how many pitches are you at? And keep in mind, Dean's injury wasn't arm related, so the arm was good. He had a full spring training, and so far you're seeing the results. So yeah, I think if you read between the lines here, they're gonna have some decisions, but Dean Kramer looks ready to go.
Aiken with a strike to Nasim Nunez, 3-1. We've got a whole bunch of injury updates from Mike Elias today. Mentioned Dylan Beavers is, as Mike said, also pretty close, here to work with the Orioles today after playing 3 days in a row with Norfolk. Line to right, that's foul. A few more injury updates. Adley Rutschman's improved a lot the last couple of days, in a good spot coming out of the concussion. Got an update on Chris Bassett. The Nats have P.J. Poulin up in their bullpen. Bassett was not satisfied with the back injections he received. Had a minor procedure called a facet bone removal. And the O's are going to see where he's at in a couple of weeks. Feeling very good, though. He's with the team right now. And Mike said there's a strong possibility we get him back in better condition before the end of the season. Nunez flies out, 2 down. Interestingly, we got an update on Felix Bautista, a pitcher who's been obviously out of sight, mostly out of mind this year. Tommy John a couple of years ago, torn labrum and rotator cuff last year. Mike was asked, is there a chance he returns before the end of the year? He said, I got to keep my fingers really crossed because of the nature of the surgery. But he's throwing really, really well, and we're excited about where he's at. You never know.
You never know. Don't want to hold my breath, just because with those types of injuries, you know, when you hear the Tommy John reference, you have a pretty good indication. When you're looking at shoulder, rotator cuff, there are so many different challenges you have to clear. But very encouraging to hear, because we know when the mountain is healthy and the mountain is on the field, I mean, you can feel the impact.
We've talked with Ben McDonald about this. Ben, who's with us on Monday, and Ben's one of those guys that, look, a shoulder injury ended my career. That's the kind of injury that can end careers. So the fact that Felix is where he is right now, that is a great, great sign. Again, whether it's the end of this year, next year, whatever, just hope we'll see him back. Saw Adley Rutschman there, and Mike Elias also had a pretty telling quote asking about Adley and his commitment to Adley Rutschman. He said, I wish our commitment was greater than what it was. We want him here forever. We want to win with him here. Now it's getting to that time where People ask about Adley Rutschman, who is a free agent after next season. Michael Elias made it as clear as possible. We want him here forever. They hope he'll be back soon from the concussion. Mike said he's been basically the face of the franchise since I took this job. Heading into 2019. The Orioles picked Adley Rutschman first overall, and they probably had a pretty good idea when Mike got the job. He would be one of the strong contenders for that #1 pick. Ground ball to third by Millis, off the glove of Blaze Alexander. And that may be Blaze's third error of the game. We'll see how it's scored on a ground ball right down the line. It was hit by the catcher.
And you can tell he's frustrated there. And even on that, again, I don't think he gets fully there yet. Tries to stretch out that front leg, which I think kind of throws him off. And when you're having that type of night and you're thinking a little bit more, you're not moving as clearly, as relaxed, and you could read the lips right there, the frustration.
Well, Drew Millis will be happy. It scored an infield hit.
As a hitter, we love that.
Yes.
As a pitcher, we hate that. And for the Orioles, you know, right now what it means, it gives James Wood an opportunity.
Remember last year, Wood hit a game-tying home run off Keegan Aiken Friday night at this park. The night before the Orioles fired Brandon Hyde. Wood slaps an 0-2 out of play here. 2 hits career against Keegan, that memorable home run in a game where the Orioles lost it about 100 different ways. A year ago, they have not beaten the Nats any of their last 5 series. Can beat them tonight. Fouled away again by James. Millis was on the run. He is a slightly above average runner, Drew Millis, which is very good for a catcher. Tried again, 0-2. Wood down looking. 2 very impressive innings for Aiken. Bottom than the top for the O's in the 8th. This Tuesday, it's pickleball night as the Orioles host the White Sox. Buy a special ticket package, receive an exclusive Orioles Valair pickleball paddle, and a ticket to the game. Go to Orioles.com/ticket packages. Well, the Nats are finally into the bullpen. They bring out a pretty good lefty out of that bullpen. The strikeout walk numbers are not so hot for P.J. Poulin this year. He's pitched to some good luck, but a 2.84 ERA is the number as he takes over with a 2-run lead.
Over his last 7 outings here, 1.13 ERA, got a 4-pitch mix. Wants to throw that sweeper, 4-seam the majority of the time, but he will mix that sinker in or sinker away to righties. And then that changeup is the final of the pitches that he will add in.
And he's blameless for the Phillies' mess over the week. He was the spot starter or the opener really on Tuesday, a scoreless inning, then a scoreless inning in the 3rd and a hold on Wednesday. Nats have Jacob Young in the game in center. Cruz replaces Lyle in left. That's Chadwick Tromp, who has the Orioles' only RBI, stands in and swings through strike 1. It'll be Tromp, Ward, and Henderson here against the lefty Poulin. The Oriole bench only has 1 right-handed batter. That's the other backup catcher, Sam Huff. So Tromp is up there because Craig Alvarez doesn't want to use a lefty pinch hitter. Jackson Holliday, Colt Cowser, Samuel Basayo would be the options. And a swing and a miss by Tromp. It's 1-2.
It makes sense they want to go with PJ here. Foster Griffin has a lot of success. Not a hard throwing lefty. Well, PJ fits that profile, different style.
Skied to left field. Here comes Cruz toward the line. That's a fair ball. And Chadwick Trump has half the hits for the Orioles.
Maybe this is what it will take for the Birds to get going here. Sometimes you just need to see one fall in, and it's perfectly placed down the left field line. And he gets jammed a little bit, and you're hoping, all right, is that going to stay fair? Couldn't have asked for better placement, but this is what you can do as a lineup. You go, all right, Foster's out of there. Now it's time to get going.
And then a pitch that crossed up Millis. Trump didn't see it, but the ball got so far away that he still's able to get to second on a pass ball. Actually hit the umpire's mask. And look at Trump he must have thought it was a foul ball, or I don't know what he was thinking, honestly. But he's at second. It's 1-0 to Ward, the tying run with nobody out. Thankfully it didn't matter, but gosh, that was weird.
You don't see that too often. I'll tell you what, though. Corey Blazer behind the plate. Glad he's all right. That's 2 now off the mask for him tonight.
That is low for ball 2.
But here's where things can change. All right, you get the leadoff guy on. The guy that was shutting you down is gone. And there can be this little energy, this momentum shift.
By the way, James Wood is out of the game, so I should say Cruz is in right. That is still Lyle in left. So Wood, who made the last out of the 8th, comes out of the game for the defensive replacement Young. Ward very good against lefties in a 2-2 count. And he swings and misses over the top of a sweeper for strike 3. Well, Gunnar Henderson hoping to ignite the bird bath here. Our splash cam presented by Hyundai. A Hyundai Getaway Sales event. Feels so right, it almost feels wrong. Only at your local Hyundai dealer. They were enjoying that second inning run. The Orioles have not scored since. A 1-1 game. 1 on, 1 out. Ball 1 to Gunnar. Poulin pitched once in the series up in D.C. 2/3 of an inning allowed a hit. He did walk Henderson in that game. The hit was to Ward, who he just struck out. Ground ball at the middle by Gunnar. Abrams is there. Gets him on the run. Dropped to third, but there are 2 away. And that brings up Pete Alonso as a tying run. I mentioned earlier, Pete has 28 career home runs against the Nats. None in his last 18 games coming in. And even though Pete has been much better against right-handers this year and better against right-handers historically, Blake Butera is going to get a righty. We'll bring in Orlando Ribalta with the 8th inning on the line. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. From official jerseys and memorabilia to hats and hoodies, we've got the season covered. Visit MLBshop.com/Orioles, the official source for your Baltimore Orioles gear. Pete Alonso facing Orlando Ribalta as a tying run. Runner at third, 2 down in the 8th, and Ribalta the second Nats reliever of the night. First pitch to Pete. He has faced Ribalta once. It was in the series in D.C. Saturday, May 16th this year, he scorched a double off him to the wall in right center. 1-0 pitch. In there for strike one.
We're going to see a heavy dosage of that fastball, hard fastball, 96, 97, and that slider.
Ground ball right side, just fouled from Pete. There was that slider. A leadoff hit by Trump, who's 2 for 3, and the Orioles have gotten him to third, but no further, and by inches. He stays anchored to third. 1-2 for Pete. That ball blasted deep left field toward the wall and down off the fence. It's in play for a run-scoring double. He doubles again off of Ribalta. And with 2 strikes and 2 outs, Alonso comes through, bringing the Orioles within 1.
That's all it takes. Starters out, you have this confidence, you get the leadoff guy on, and then you get the polar bear up there that gets a hanging slider. And here you go. 3-2 game, and once again, Pete was late on the slider. That was barely fouled on the right field line. Well, guess what? It wasn't late on that. Just missed a home run. Off the bat, we were hoping it'd get up, but here you are. Second base got a chance, and well, KB, we're having a conversation of when will we see Sammy Basayo? I think we got the answer.
And Basayo is in there for Kobe Mayo. A base hit to tie, a home run to lead. Ribalta ready. Basayo ready. Base hit right center. Here comes Alonso. We are tied.
How about that? 2-out lightning. Right off the bench, first pitch swinging. You're not going to waste any time here for Sam Basayo. Gets a fastball middle away and just smokes it right back up. And all of a sudden, for the Orioles, where it felt frustrating, couldn't figure out Foster Griffin earlier, then you get to the bullpen, and we've talked about this so far this series. This has been an Achilles heel for the Nationals, but this is as an offense of what you got to continue to stay in the fight. And the Orioles have done this a lot this year. Stay in the fight until the moment arises. When you get a chance, make it hurt. And for the Orioles now, 2-out RBIs evens the game up, and let's see if we can keep the pinch hit magic going with Cowser.
Colton bats for Tyler O'Neill. To your point, this has got to feel like a really gnarly case of deja vu for Nats fans.
And for Ribalta here, he's had 9 earned runs going into this game allowed, but in his last 4 outings, he had allowed 5 of those. Now add 2, 6 earned, so now that's in the back of his mind now as well.
1-0 to Colton. That'll be challenged. Called a ball. Drew Millis thought it was on the corner. And he's right. 1-1 count.
You know, on the flip side, when I talk about the Orioles, you gain confidence. So you get to that bullpen finally. Now if you're the Nationals, you don't want to say it out loud, but you're thinking internally, well, here we are again.
Outside to Colton, it's 2-1. They blew 3 straight late leads against the Phillies, allowed a go-ahead homer in the 9th inning, 3 straight games. Foster Griffin could hardly have been better today. And their bullpen, in the process of blowing it again. It's another challenge by Millis in this at-bat on a pitch that looked like it got the corner again and did. How good is he? Should be, or it would have been a 4-pitch walk in the old days, but Millis has received 2 strikes on challenges.
A lot of good challenge calls on both sides tonight.
Teams are 5 for 5 combined. So 2-2 for Cowser. Basayo at first, the go-ahead run. The pitch popped up left side, angling out of play. All with 2 outs and 2 strikes. This thing started on a Pete line drive that, by the way, we can say now would have been a home run in 27 of 30 ballparks. And thankfully it didn't matter because Sammy Basayo scored him on the next pitch. 6 pitch to Cowser. Is taken low to run the count full. Colton, of course, has arguably the biggest hit of the year. Walk-off home run on Memorial Day against the Rays, one day after a walk-off home run against the Tigers in a doubleheader. He's seen his share of the dramatic moments, and he lines the ball right to Abrams. Ends the inning, but what an inning it was. In the words of my partner Ryan Ripken, 2-out lightning. The Orioles tie it into the 9th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. We got a heck of a look at the name on Samuel Basayo's bat, a name Orioles fans have heard about for years, know all about now, and will remember for years to come. He followed Pete Alonso, the 2 big power hitters the Orioles have invested so much in. A 5-year free agent, an 8-year extension, come through to tie it in the 8th. And Andrew Kittredge hopes to keep it tied in the 9th. Big spot here for Kittredge. It really is. 2, 3, and 4. Garcia, Meade, and Abrams left, right, left. Cowser in the game in center after pitch hitting and lining out for O'Neill. That moves Leote to right. Line drive to right by Garcia, and he's got a 4-hit game. 2 singles, a double, and a home run. The Nats have a leadoff man aboard in the 9th.
You can't get him out on any pitches. First 2 hits off the fastball, last 2 off breaking ball, and Kittredge loves to go with the slider. Garcia, that last hit that led to the play at the plate for the out, off-speed pitch, and Luis, this is what he does. He's a free swinger. And swinging freely right now.
So Curtis Meade gets a rare right on right at bat. He takes a 2-seamer strike. Nats have right-handed Andres Stuparo on the bench, and then switch hitting catcher Keibert Ruiz. So Meade, who pinch hit for Tena, has to stay in there against a righty. Now folks are wondering why Kittredge in this situation. Obviously he struggled at times this year. Couple of reasons why you may see this move. One, he's been actually much better against lefties, and he gets lefty, righty, lefty here. 0-1 for Meade. Check swing foul. The second is obviously Craig Albertan still trusts in Kittredge. His ERA is 6, but he's another one of those pitchers who had a huge blow up early against the Yankees. 7 earned runs on May the 3rd. Since that outing, has pitched to a 3.07 ERA. There is Grant Wolfram. Interestingly enough, he would have been the other option to start the inning against left, right, lefty. He pitched yesterday, but only through 10 pitches. 1-2. Meade to center field. Cowser acres of space. Garcia will tag and hold at first, and there's one away.
No, this is what Kittredge was brought in initially when he was acquired by the Orioles the first time. It was a guy, high leverage. But for another year, then this year, the injuries, trying to get comfortable. It's hard to play catch up here when you don't have your full spring training.
97, good velocity to C.J. Abrams. Leighton Beater, it appears, will have the 9th for the Nats. It'll be Alexander, Taveras, and Jackson for the Orioles, 6, 7, and 8. Jackson Holiday on the bench. Inside out foul.
He's got a good feel for his sinker right now, though. I know the slider is his go-to pitch where he wants to induce weak contact or his strikeout pitch, but the sinker is what's put him in a good position here over the last 2 batters.
Abrams only grounded into 4 double plays on the year. He strikes out swinging here, his 3rd strikeout of the game. The Orioles 12th as a unit, and Kittredge has the first 2 outs in the ninth.
And that sinker setup right there, C.J. Abrams was very late thinking he's going to throw another one, and that's why it's his wipeout pitch right there.
It'll be Dylan Cruz, 0 for 3 with a walk. Strike from Kittredge, slider. Swing and a miss. It's the wipeout pitch right now.
Well, once it's always interesting to me how one pitch can then maybe gain confidence in the other. You have the sinker, which sets up you throwing a really good slider, I'm sorry. And once that happens, then you get the feel back. Slider again here.
We'll find out if it's a trifecta. It was picked by Trump nicely. Garcia, the go-ahead run at first, is a below-average runner. 1-2 for Dylan Cruz. Kittredge trying to send us to the bottom of the 9th, and Cruz fights off a 4th straight slider. That one hung well in the zone.
And even though Kittredge is still trying to find it, I mean, the reason why he throws a slider so much, hitter's only hitting 179 off it. It's got a lot of good bite. 5th time's the charm.
Let's see. Just 96 bowling ball on his fist. That'll do just fine. Kittredge puts up a 0. O's need 1 to walk it off. Orioles' upcoming schedule brought to you by Science and Kirk. Injured in an accident? Call Science and Kirk or visit youhavealawyer.com. Remember, you have a lawyer. Orioles Nats will be a chance for a sweep tomorrow. We'll find out 1:30 before the White Sox come to town. Orioles need a win, or need a run for their 4th walk-off win of the year. Blaze Alexander is going to lead it off after the O's rallied with a 2-run, 2-out rally in the 8th off of Orlando Ribalta. The first run charged to P.J. Poulet. And now Clayton Beater, who did not play a part in any of those blown 9th innings against the Phillies this week, into the game trying to send this to extras.
We saw him earlier up quite a bit. And no secret, he's got 2 pitches he wants to go to. 4-seam slider. That's it.
Blaze Alexander in the bottom of the 9th. Gets a slider. Alexander followed by Leody Taveras, who's much better against righties. And then Jeremiah Jackson due up. Slider is up and in. It's 2-0 to Blaze. Wouldn't be a surprise if the game gets to Jackson to potentially see Jackson Holiday available off the bench. Alexander 1 for 3 today. Couple of hard hit balls. Swings away at a 2-0 heater. Three walk-off wins for the Orioles this year. Colt Kowser home runs May 24th and 25th. Pete Alonso a single on May 30th. So all three came within a week. Chadwick Trump, a major player in this game, would be due up 4th in the inning. Drove in the first run, scored the second. 2-2 for Blaze. Taken wide for ball 3.
No, this is a place now that Blaze has gotten really comfortable. On 3-2 counts this year, Blaze is 7 for 21. This is something he's really focused on. We talked about the struggles early in the season. He thrives and wants to be in these late counts.
Remember, the Nationals became the second team in Major League history, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, to give up a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning 3 straight games. They didn't have to pitch the bottom of the 9th yesterday. Blaze digs out a low fastball and stays alive 3-2. Could it really happen? Could it really happen in 4 straight 9th innings? Can we see history at Oriole Park tonight?
I think we've seen some history here before.
That is strike 3 called. And probably a wise non-call by Blaze. That was at the very top of the zone, and strike 3 would not have been overturned. It didn't appear on a challenge.
And that was one right out of the hand. It felt like it was going to be a ball, and unfortunately it dropped down just a hair enough. Tough break right there for Blaze.
The Nats have struck out 11 in the game. The Orioles have struck out 13 Nat batters. Leody Taveras. 1 career walk-off hit. But an 0-2 count here. August 31st, 2024 with Texas. An RBI single. Jackson Holiday is in the dugout with the bat. Jeremiah Jackson is on deck. Which Jackson will it be? Might depend on what happens with Taveras. That's foul. It looked like these Orioles might get Foster Griffin out of the game relatively early. 2 innings, he was at 52 pitches. He ends up throwing 112, completing 7. But as we've been saying, when the Nats go to the bullpen, good things can happen for opposing offenses. Fouled away again.
And this is where the mental side's going to kick in. We know what's been going on with the Nationals over this period. They know, and also this Orioles lineup knows.
Ryan Helsley, if there's a 10th, is ready to go. Taveras fighting off 97. Has fouled away the last 3 pitches in an 0-2 hole. Strikeout, fly out, foul out for Leody tonight. Only 2 home runs on the year. He does have 17 extra base hits total. And another foul ball. Greg Alvarez would like some support for his bobble. Happy it didn't hit him in the cheek. Staying loose in this tense game, which is Albie's style we've seen. Seventh pitch coming. Still 0-2. That's in the dirt. And it took a chunk out of Millis, it appears. Off the shoulder and then into the neck. So you want to be a catcher. 8th pitch. Got him. Peter loves that slider. Jeremiah Jackson will bat with 2 down.
And he might have found it on that high breaker to Blaze, because early to start off that at bat, he didn't have that bite to it. And that's what he wants to do with 2 strikes. Bury it, not give Leote a chance. Good pitch.
2 down Jeremiah. 1 for 3. You'll have to be a little careful with Jeremiah up and away. We've seen him go to right field. Did so on the last homestand against San Diego for a home run over the scoreboard and right. Now Jackson Holliday on deck for Trump. Strike 2. So we will see Holliday if Jeremiah Jackson reaches, as the Orioles have another catcher in reserve in Sam Huff. 0-2 for Beater. 1 strike away from the 10th. Fouled off instead. If there's a 10th, it'll be Lyle, Bibas, and Nunez, with Cruz, the runner at second. Against Ryan Helsley. Cruz is a great runner, so the Nats would have the advantage there with their 6, 7, 8 hitters coming up. Here's another 0-2. Ground ball pulled to third. Bibas there. And we'll go to the 10th. Orioles get 2 in the 8th. Neither team breaks through in the 9th. Free baseball in Baltimore. Hell's bells ring out in the 10th as the Oriole closer Ryan Helsley pitches for a 2nd straight day. His 3rd back-to-back situation of the year. In his first 2 games off the injured list, Helsley really struggled, allowing 4 earned runs and 3 homers. But the last 2 times out, Ryan Ripken, he has looked like the man the Orioles paid for.
Certainly has, and I think what was impressive last night was the success he had without his fastball. 1 fastball thrown last night. Curveball and split is what he chose to go with a lot. And talk about as a reliever, if you can add another pitch there to make a hitter think like that. Seems to be that next one with the guy that throws 100. It's just another pitch in your arsenal that you can use to your advantage. And right there it is.
Tied for the fewest fastballs in a game in his career. Remember last year where the Mets was having pitch tipping issues. So he throws a fastball here to Dalen Lyle. He's now faced 4 batters in the last 2 nights and thrown a first pitch curveball for a strike to 3 of them. Dylan Cruz, the automatic runner in extra innings, very fast runner at second. As Lyle takes a slider low. Andrew Kittredge, a scoreless ninth, worked around a leadoff single, striking out 2. You've got to give Keegan Aiken some love too. 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Got the Orioles through the 7th and 8th scoreless, setting them up for the rally.
The Orioles bullpen was great. Great last night, great tonight so far.
Ground ball pulled foul by Lyle. In extra innings, obvious though this may seem, you dearly want a strikeout pitcher with the runner at second. And that's why it's Ryan Helsley over somebody like Yennier Cano, who's had a terrific year but is more of a contact ground ball guy. Helsley's 2-2 for Lyle. And a ground ball gets under Alonso. A base hit will score Cruz. And the Nats take a 4-3 lead, beg your pardon. It's an RBI single for Lyle as Helsley went to that curveball 1 too many times.
And Lyle earlier, if you remember, had the split off Brandon Young out to left, stays on that enough. Thought maybe Helsley would go heater in here, but Lyle sneaks one through, and Nats get that ghost runner on second in to take the lead.
You need to get one as the road team in extras. And if Helsley can hold him here, the Orioles will feel okay, as obviously they'll get a runner at second in the bottom of the inning. So now it is full-on damage control mode. Jorbeat Bibas has had a nice game. An RBI, a run, 2 hits. Slugs a slider to the screen, 1-1. Orioles 2-3 in extra inning games this year. Obviously had the painful 10-inning loss Wednesday in Anaheim. Nats are 4-5 in extras. Here's a 1-1. Strike 99 to him. The Orioles have been very poor in one-run games, 6-12, second worst in the majors. And that was Justin Lawrence up in the Washington bullpen. A little tapper here. Trump, bare hand, no play. That's a huge base runner for the Nats, because now you know Nunez is going to try to bunt.
Yeah, and I think on that one, I know the catcher, you have momentum, you feel you want to go out and get it to go to first, but I thought this was Helsley's ball, to be honest. And I know you give way, but it felt like it was a longer way for Trump to go out and get that baseball right here. Just that slight hesitation right there, that extra foot, I think was the difference.
Craig Alvarez is out to the mound. We have seen him do this a couple of times this year, and he often comes out to the mound when an infield play is in question. So maybe partly to talk to Helsley, probably primarily to talk to the infielders with Nasim Nunez coming up.
Well, this seems like the guy that would be willing to sacrifice, make something happen here. You got no outs, and this is where you got to make sure for the Orioles you're in the right spot and that you secure an out.
Nunez not showing bunt. Now they do have the 9-hitter Millis on deck, but we did see Nunez try to bunt earlier. He's got 6 sack bunts on the year, tied for 4th in baseball, so it's a little bit of a surprise. But Nats are going for the big inning here, and maybe they're right to do so. Helsley's behind 2-0.
Well, and also I bet on the first pitch you're really getting an idea. If he falls behind, and now he's in the hole 2-0, you can be free swinging. Could even force him to throw a strike here.
That's what Nunez does. He's going to challenge it.
Batter's challenge is called strike.
Will this be the first lost challenge of the game? Yes.
Call is confirmed. Washington has 1 remaining challenge.
So the count 2-1. Remember, if you lose your challenges and extras, you would start a new extra inning with a challenge. The Nats still have 1 remaining. 2-1 pitch. Taken for ball 3. A walk the Orioles just plainly cannot afford. Miller's having a nice game on deck. Ground ball single, infield single, and now a 3-1 to Nasim Nunez. Take strike 2. Hitter with basically no power, but great speed and a very good eye. Nasim Nunez proven to be a tough out. And he called time late again, this time before the pitcher started to throw. Miles at second, Bebas at first. It'll be a 3-2 from Helsley. And Nunez did go. Punched out on the check swing try by Alex Tosi down at third.
And Helsley really needed that one. Let's get a closer look here how close this check swing was.
That's awfully close. If you're a batter and you were a batter,
I have some thoughts.
You're not
some
thrilled,
good thoughts. No, but for Helsley, that's massive. I mean, that's being captain obvious here, but the call's made. Now you got an out. Now you're a ground ball away from limiting this damage.
that is a potentially game-changing call. We'll see how this inning shakes out. Slow ground ball from Millis. Jackson got one at second. He couldn't get it out of the glove quickly, thus terminating the chance at a double play. And it'll be first and third, 2 outs for Jacob Young, who came into the game as a defensive replacement for James Wood.
And having trouble on the grip there as soon as it was off the back. Not hit hard enough, and I know you're thinking we want to get one out. And again, you got to secure one, make sure one when it's hit that slow. And you want to say, don't allow an extra runner on second base. They got a little bit dicey there for a second, but they did secure the out. Now, one more pitch away for Helsley.
Young's first at bat of the game. 4-3 Nats in the 10th. In the dirt. Now on paper, you love seeing Jacob Young rather than James Wood, except that Wood's currently at a 1 for 23. It was 0 for 4 today with a walk. Young against the Orioles this year is 4 for 11, a double, 2 homers and a walk. So he's hit like James Wood against the O's. In the dirt again, and it's 2-0. Trump having to work overtime here to keep that oh so important runner at third.
And I know Helsley had a really good feel for the off speed last night. And so far it looked a solid start when he landed the curveball to start tonight. But it doesn't seem the same as it was yesterday. And I'm curious, is it not having a feel for the fastball?
That was another slider. I mean, he throws 100 and he's thrown 4 in the inning, 4 out of 20.
And so I'm just curious with that. That's been
another slider in the air to center. And Kowser puts it away. So the Nats get the automatic runner home. The O's will get a runner at second. 1 to tie, 2 to win. The Orioles trail by 1 in the 10th, and the state of the Nats bullpen is such that Justin Lawrence, who in 30 big league games between Pittsburgh and Minnesota has an ERA north of 8, is the pitcher of choice in the 10th, making his Nationals debut in search of the save.
His last outing came on the 20th, June 20th, and over his last 3 outings, 11 earned runs here. So the Orioles, like we said, you got to start out of the game, maybe not the way you had hoped, but this is where you can take advantage. Now Jackson Holliday is going to have a chance pinch hitting here to get things going. But with this, though, you don't want to try to do too much. I know we're looking at numbers and you understand there could be some advantages, but still got to keep it simple.
Holliday pinch hitting for Chadwick Tromp. Takes one wide. Leighton Beater, a perfect 9th inning, struck out 2. The other choice for the Nats probably would have been lefty Richard Lovelady. He's got a 3.97 ERA, but his peripherals are not great. Lawrence on a 1-0. And again, as we said at the top of the inning, you want a strikeout pitcher in extras with a runner at second. And Justin Lawrence has had a pretty brutal year, but he is a strikeout pitcher. And maybe you can get one early for the Nats. 31 years old, 12th rounder back in 2015, 6 big league year, 5.37 ERA. In his Nationals debut, searching for the save. 1-1 for Holiday off the bench. Breaking ball. Stays off the corner. It'll be challenged.
Catcher's challenge, call ball.
By Drew Millis. If he's wrong here, and he is, the answer out of challenges.
All confirmed. Washington is out of challenges.
So nobody had lost a challenge into the 10th. The Nats lose one at the plate and then lose one behind it. So any close pitch now, the Nationals cannot challenge in the bottom of this inning, and that could be critical. Ground ball right side for Holiday. That will at least advance Jeremiah to third. So it is a productive out for the first out. Now Taylor Ward can tie the game without a hit.
Yeah, not the result Jackson wanted, but you move the guy up 90 feet. And we talk about this day and age in baseball. He's got to find a way to get him in. Looking for more, but you need that run at third base first before you think about what's next.
Taylor Ward, infield in. Breaking ball right down the middle. Ward has had a tough night. Walked to lead off the game, but since then, strikeout, pop out, strikeout. All results that would not get the run in. Lawrence is 0-1. On the ground left side, Abrams coming home. Jackson's out by 1.5 miles. Wow.
And they no doubt had contact on right there, the contact play. That's why he was out by so much, because a pretty hard hit ball to C.J. Abrams. And even on the run, C.J. Abrams had no panic on this play. You'll see right now, we're watching the Jeremiah. As soon as the ball is hit, he's going. C.J. Abrams knew that, saw that, got rid of it quick. Now the Orioles need a little more two-out lightning there, KB.
It's up to Gunnar Henderson on his bobble card day. And Gunnar takes one right down the middle as well. First two pitches to the last two batters were the hittable ones. The sweeper to Ward and the sinker to Henderson, as Justin Lawrence is on the verge of one memorable Nats debut. Gunnar looking for his first hit of this series, and there it is, left field. Ward is going to only jog to second on the ball hit in front of him. So Henderson has a knock. He keeps the game alive, and he puts the game in the hands of Pete Alonso.
And I know it's been frustrating for Gunnar, and you want to be the guy. You let the ball get deep, hit the ball the other way, and you pass the bat along to the guy that, well, let's just say Pete loves these moments. He said he wants to be in these moments. Well, he's got another opportunity tonight.
Simon Matthews, Nationals pitching coach, who might not know a heck of a lot about Justin Lawrence, is out to talk to him. And the Orioles' last walk-off came off the bat of Pete Alonso in that memorable 5-run ninth inning on May the 30th against Toronto. Pete hit a ground ball single through the right side off Connor Siebold to end the game. Since his debut in 2019, the most RBIs in the major leagues, 768. The most go-ahead RBIs in the 7th inning or later, 32 of them. 2 on, 2 out, 1-run game in the 10th. And Pete takes wide for ball 1. The last time Alonso batted in the 10th, on Wednesday, he gave the Orioles a lead, short-lived though it was, with a run-scoring single to right. Lawrence is 1-0. Way outside, and a sprawling Millis saves a wild pitch.
This is the other part here. Yeah, you don't want to give Pete a pitch he can drive. But now 2-0, you fall behind 3-0. That runner gets in scoring position. You walk Pete, you got Sam right behind you.
Nobody's near second base. Lawrence just gives Ward a little reminder. Alonso in the driver's seat on 2-0. Ward the tying run at second. Henderson at first, the winning run. And a fastball is high.
And here you go. Here's the thing. Pete Alonso as a vet. Does he get the green light? Yeah. But now the pressure is all on Lawrence, because you don't want to give Sammy Basallo the opportunity to win this game.
On the inside corner, 3-1. A matchup historically that has gone the way of Justin Lawrence. He has faced Pete 8 times. Pete is only 1 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. But with a 3-1 count, the axis is tilted in Alonso's favor. Breaking ball inside, and the bases are loaded for Samuel Basallo. The Orioles' first walk since the first inning. And now a base hit to the outfield, and this game would be over. Basallo has seen 1 pitch. He lined it to right field to tie it in the 8th. First pitch, not even close. Sammy had 2 walk-offs last year in a span of 5 days in September. Lawrence is 1-0. Ground ball to second base, and the Orioles leave the bases loaded in the 10th. Another 10th inning, rip your heart out kind of finish. Lawrence gets the save in his Nationals debut, and the Orioles lose 4-3, which means they will have to wait until tomorrow to try to take this series from the Nats.
There's going to be a few moments there. Have to debrief. You got to wash it for the Orioles. But man, there were some opportunities to pull off the comeback. Unfortunately, Lawrence and the Nats shut the door.
Those get 2 in the 8th to tie it, but cannot break through. We'll hear more from Ryan with Rob Long. Those extra postgame is coming up.